matters in our country. Yes, we've been fighting this thing for the last 80 plus years, but now we perhaps have got a man who can, in fact, take a serious and sober look at this whole matter and deal with it. That's what we're looking forward to. It is Thursday, May 15th, 2025. We have a mix of sun and cloud in the nations today. We had a high of 87 and later tonight, 75. This is Hard Copy on the Mckinney Broadcasting Radio Network. Hard Copy, as you know, seeks to lay out the facts in simple fashion for the inclusion of all Bahamians and Bahamians at heart. The focus every day to move forthright in our manner to build a progressive and developing country. Our desire is for a Bahamas with a competent, skillful, and productive workforce. We want a country that can feed and sustain itself. We want a country with a brilliant, visionary action plan that's ready to embrace a future of hope and prosperity. We encourage like-minded Bahamians just like you to participate with intelligent and honest contributions. After all, we have a country to build. We've got jobs and industry to create, a people to inspire and empower, and generations of born and unborn Bahamians we, the people, must protect and plan for. And if not you, then who? If not now, then when? And so today on Hard Copy, we continue with the immigration woes the country is still facing at this time. It has been a plague on this country the past 80 years, but has gotten to a whole lot worse condition than ever before. Immigrants continue to come into the Bahamas unceasingly, relentlessly, with all the determination. They keep coming, and we can't stop it. When will it end? The Bahamians are totally fed up. We're fed up. That says it in a nutshell. But how fed up are we really in this dispensation of things? How fed up are we really? Bahamians are now well into its. I want you to get this today. You've never heard this before. Bahamians are well into its second generation of people as an independent country. This is two generations down the road since independence. And still, there has been no problems, no concerns by the authorities with the influx of people. Predominantly, the people that we're talking about are from down south in Haiti. That's the predominant crew. Mind you, there are many others who are here as well. But they don't rank in the way that the Haitians, who are so predominant, have been taking over this country. So much so that the people of the Bahamas now feel as though they come to move some things. They come to establish themselves. These new Haitian nationals have come to establish themselves, but in our country. They seem to be all enthusiastic that they now have a prime minister who is so gleefully amazed and certainly unaware of what is really taking place in this country. At least many believe that he is really unaware. People believe that he's under some kind of mystical spell. Because with the kind of people who are coming here to these shores, this is totally unbelievable and totally something that the authorities should have picked up to a long time ago. Let me recap. We have done stories on immigration on this very same show, Hard Copy, since 2010, going forward to 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and now 2025. Did you count the years? That's how long we have been on this topic. It's a growing topic of enormous proportions that Dr. Elwood Donaldson spoke to. He's speaking to this whole matter. That Dr. Miles Monroe spoke to. He spent his whole life dealing with the matter. And so many other people. Still, governments have not moved a lick. In fact, the people keep coming. You've got to ask the question, how come they're still coming? How come they're coming in these massive numbers? Why? Is it because of the vote that people have been speculating that that's what they want to do? Vote this particular administration out, vote in, and take over the country, politically speaking, in the Bahamas. Many Bahamians are of the view that that can't happen. Blackmail is such a person. I am such a person. Many of you are such persons. I'm hoping today that we can really put a bell on this whole matter. That we can really decide that we've got to do something now or never. That's one of the reasons why Lincoln Bean has personally been invited by myself here to this show to talk and speak to this matter. This is no walk in the park for Mr. Bain. Far from it. This particular show is so urgent and so very necessary that even the people who are listening in today around the entire world are looking for some glimmer of hope that because the others, the other leaders, Pintard, Brave Davis, have not been speaking to this whole matter. In fact, they've been looking at this matter as if they are all for it. That we are hoping today that Lincoln Bain has the word, that he, in fact, can address this very vexing problem for not only the FNMs, not only the PLPs, not only the COIs, but the entire Bahamas. Because all of us are frustrated, tired, vexed, and had enough. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. But we need a man. We need a man with the potentiality of becoming the leader of our country to divert things in such a way that we can see the paradigm shift of him deciding that this is such a key issue and a key problem for the growth and development of the Bahamas that he has no choice than to face it head on. Look in the eyes and look in the mirror and understand that this matter must be dealt with forthwith. That's what we are dealing with, friends. And because we are dealing with that, we have to speak to the issues. Humbly, gently, but at the same time, forcefully. Will it take a change of the government to rid the Bahamas of the illegal migrants? Will it take the people's hero, Lincoln Bain, to fulfill the mission and restore the Bahamas to its rightful place for Bahamians? Or will he too join the others, the other leaders like Davis and Pintard, on this critical matter that has threatened and continues to threaten the entire Bahamas? That's the question for the day. What you're going to do is what people want to know. Make it simple. What's going to happen if there's a change in the government? What can we look forward to? What will be the modus operandi? What will be the focus and the concern of putting the people back to work? How will that happen with so many of them here? People think it's incredible that you cannot doubt this thing anymore. This thing's out of hand. But is it? Is it really out of hand, or we just don't have the willpower by some leaders to deal with it? Nothing can be out of hand if, in fact, this is the Bahamas and we are fighting for the Bahamas. It cannot be out of hand. So don't give me that. Don't want to hear it. Cannot be out of hand. It has to be dealt with. And it has to be dealt with in a strategic, methodical, serious, but effective way. Do they have the plans? We didn't know Michael Pinto ain't got no plans. They're harboring these people. Brave Davis don't have no plan. We can speak frank. They're harboring these people. In fact, what they're doing so much is that they are making the Bahamian people scared that they may lose the country. With the influx of people who are now on the Facebook pages saying how they can put one serious cut behind on the Bahamian people this time around, these are Haitian nationals. Yep, it's a scary situation. If you don't think so, well, that's up to you. But it is scary. From where we sit and what we know it's scary. We know what happens. Don't forget now, this same gentleman you're seeing here talking with you right now, I've been at the center of the police press liaison. I've been at the center of the Prime Minister's office, the first press spokesman for the Prime Minister. Me. I've been at the forefront of BIS, Bahamas Information Services. I'm at the forefront of ZNS, News Direct. Let me tell you, I've seen it all. I've seen them come by boats in my times as a reporter. Come by boats and drowning all over the place. 45 years of this whole thing. I think I know what I'm talking about. So when I tell you, we know what the situation is. Believe you me, we do. We know about the corruption. We know about all the things that happens unnecessarily because our people are bone corrupt. They're corrupted. All of these things Mr. Bain will have to deal with. And so today, we begin the process. Right now, live here on Hard Copy. So we say, good afternoon, Mr. Bain.
Good afternoon, Steve.
Good afternoon.
It's always a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, the whole idea is that today, what we want to really do, apart from all of the other things that the COI may in fact be doing, and I believe that they're good things, I want to really focus on this whole matter of immigration
Yes.
in our Bahamas. And I will tell you why, because you see, at the end of the day, we've got to look soberly and seriously at what is actually happening here. You heard me in the opening today say that the Davis administration nor Michael Pintard, the opposition party leader, doesn't care to speak to this overwhelming immigration issue facing the Bahamas. The question is, what is Lincoln Bain and the coalition prepared to do about this very vexing problem in the Bahamas that the people want to see results? I'm asking, what is it that Lincoln Bain and the coalition are prepared to do? I know it may not be a thing that can happen in the short term, in the long term, but I believe that it has to be tackled immediately because this is what the people are looking at it for. And not only that, it must be tackled now because elections are key in this particular situation. Let's hear from you, sir.
Well, I can speak to what we will do when we become the government, Steve. And of course, I think that everyone who knows me by now knows that I am going to deal with this problem and I'm going to deal with this problem head on. I don't think anyone else in this country is willing to deal with it because they are corrupt and they are benefiting from the illegal immigration the way it is. And I'm going to say with no uncertain terms, while we don't have a problem with anyone else coming to our country and helping us build this country or helping us enjoy our country, we have a problem with illegal immigration. You are going to come and come the right way. When I wanted to enter your studio, I did not come through a back window, Steve. I did not come through a back window. I came to the door. I buzzed the door and I asked you to come in and you let me in. And that is how things should be done in any good society where there's the rule of law, decency, and order. And so we're expecting people to come the right way. And so we are going to make sure that persons do that. And we're not against anyone, and we don't care if anyone comes the wrong way. We're going to deal with them. That includes Americans, that includes Europeans, Filipinos, Haitians, Jamaicans, whoever comes here the wrong way. They're going to be dealt with. And every country has that policy. Steve, you cannot go to Haiti illegally. I dare you to try. Anyone who is saying that, oh, that's your African brother and sister, let them come in the country, I dare you to try to go into their country illegally. Try to go into another country illegally and see what happens to you. No, we must have law and order in this country, and we will address that. And Steve, I will be bold enough to say that within the first month, we are going to solve our immigration problem.
Within the first month,
Within the first month of being in office, we
if
will
you
have
get
no
to
immigration
office,
problem.
if you get once you get to office, you're telling me that you are going to solve a problem that has been with us for the last 8 decades, 80 years, and counting.
Within the first month, our immigration problems will be over with in this country. We don't really have an immigration problem. We have a corruption problem.
I see.
I will be the minister responsible for immigration as the prime minister of this country. I will have no one to answer to in terms of a prime minister being over me to tell me leave that alone. We've had this immigration problem because our first prime minister, Sir Lyndon Oscar Pinlin, made a deal with the oligarchs in Abaco to allow the immigrants to come in to do farming and to allow them to build shanty towns so that they could be cheap labor because they don't have to worry about things like rent and mortgage, etc. So you could pay them a small amount of money. And so when Loftus Roker saw what was happening and tried to deal with it, he got a call from our leader at the time, and they said, leave that alone. Loftus Roker said, boy, this is going to be a problem in some years. I may not live to see it, but eventually we will not have a Bahamas. Once you start this, and you was there, so you know what Loftus
Yes,
Roker said.
that's what he said.
And so he stepped down. He's not stepped down, but he stood down. He did not fight for the country. He said what he had to say. He let us know, but we didn't listen, and now we're going to feel. When Brian Mccartney tried to do the same thing, well, before him, Shane Gibson started to do similar, and Perry Christie said, no, stop it. Leave that alone. Don't touch them. Brian McCartney tried the same thing. Ingram told him, leave that alone. Let them flood the
So
country.
there's been this situation where apparently the leaders of the country at that particular time, they were all on page with the illegals coming here in the Bahamas. And even though they understood that they could not be a citizen of this country because they did not have the proper credentials with the actual constitution, that's the only thing you can get an invitation on to become a citizen. You can only have that through the constitution. They decided that they were going to go full fledged with this, what you call the Nationality Act, which is something that we all have been saying has been fraudulent. We know that for a fact now because the evidence has been shown itself to us that that is what it is. The only thing that you can get and be able to be in the Bahamas by is the fact that you should be uh, under the Constitution. If it comes under the Constitution, fine. But if it doesn't come under the Constitution, that Nationality Act is out of the way. And so that's where the big problem came in. So long time ago, then it seems to me, because we did all those stories all over the last 2 weeks to show people what's happening. All of those stories were basically based upon the fact that these fellows were dealing with, these governments were dealing with the act that they had in mind to facilitate the passports, facilitate the actual national, the cards to say that they're a citizen, because they knew that that wasn't the real thing.
Tell people Mhm.
However, they did do those things, and so today we have so many people in the country on those nationality cards who, in fact, are citizens of the Bahamas, which they cannot be citizens.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So to help people understand, when you say nationality act, I think moving forward, you should say the fraudulent nationality act.
Yeah,
So that when
that's why I've been
Yes.
making the distinction by saying fraudulent.
Yes, and so when we
Yeah.
get in, people will easily understand why we have to do what we have to do.
Right.
But what we've been doing is building a plantation over the years.
Mm.
And it's culminated into a plantation where we are being replaced because we're expensive labor. And the purpose of a plantation is to get free labor
That's right.
and cheap labor.
Mm.
And so they've been building a plantation over the years, and now we are going to be pushed out. And so now when our educated children come back home, we send them away. All right, they're sent away. You don't belong here. You go somewhere else. This is a plantation. We are bringing in labor from in the South, cheap labor from the South. You got to go. So you and your children go. So the children are going to go initially, and then you all could go with them afterwards, because these new labor are going to run you all out of town. But they feel that they're going to still be rich and oligarchs, so they can control this new labor coming in. But y'all have to go. And so they've built a new plantation. There's something interesting I want you to pay attention to. The last population census that they had showed that our population increased more by naturalization
That's right.
than by birth.
That's right.
A lot of the births were not Bahamians per se.
People need to pay attention to that.
All right? A lot of them. Some people say you go to the maternity ward, one Bahamian, 20 others. And so now we had more naturalization than birth.
That's right.
Pay attention. Keith Bell was on Shanique Miller's show. I think it was yesterday or the day before, last night. And he made a statement that should have puzzled people. He said he increased the revenue of the immigration through naturalizing persons by $100 million.
Understood.
See, you always follow the numbers.
Mhm.
The numbers don't lie, you know. Politicians use numbers to lie,
So
but
they're
the
now
numbers don't
saying
lie.
that because these people are here, they have paid their way here because the government has collected all this money.
I don't even want you to just focus on that. That is 100% correct. But Steve, if you got $100 million worth of naturalization and regularizations, how much people is that? 100 million?
Got to be more than 3 times the population of the Bahamas.
$100 million you made by naturalizing persons? Work permits, spousal permits, 100 million. We in trouble.
So it means that the first tackle that you're going to have to deal with would be to eliminate this whole matter of this fraudulent nationality act, because that is the big door that is allowing people to come in. And if you looked at the newspapers in recent times, all you can see is those persons who have been naturalized and the rest of it, and they're in the newspapers. They're trying to get their papers sorted out. They're trying to get citizenship. And we have all these new people in the Bahamas, and there's no space for Bahamians. What's going to happen down the road when it comes to the children of the future? See, we've got to take this thing very, very seriously and very soberly, because this calls for a serious focus by anyone who is going to decide that they want to be in charge of this country. They must clean up this matter. And I hear you say within the first month, because we don't have a immigration problem, we have a corruption problem. I hear that. I understand what you're saying. And maybe if we could deal with the corruption problem at the same time simultaneously, then maybe we would be okay. But I'm saying to you, What about all these people who are here now, presently? They're getting their citizenship. They're doing this thing. They're taking the jobs. They're doing all. What's going to happen in the immediate short term, Mr. Lincoln Bain, with these particular people? These people have now spread themselves with families and all that kind of stuff. What's going to happen? Because people want to know.
Steve, we will not have to worry about the Nationality Act anymore.
Thank you.
That thing is going to be repealed.
Mm-hmm.
We will not have any more naturalizations. That really is a naturalization act. We get our nationality from the Constitution of this country.
That's right.
Naming that act, that fraudulent act, the Nationality Act, was kind of deceptive. Okay, and so that's not where we get
It
our
was
nationality
deceptive.
from. Yeah, it was deceptive.
Yes.
All right, and so we have everything we need in our Constitution. The Constitution tells us who's Bahamian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so we won't need that anymore because we will no longer allow persons to naturalize and become citizens of the Bahamas.
Absolutely. That's a smart move.
And so the reason we can do that is because we have to remember that almost all of our neighbors have millions of peoples, except for Turks and Caicos.
Mhm.
Jamaica has millions, Haiti has millions, Dominican Republic, Cuba. We're surrounded by people with millions of people. And we can be taken over. And remember the biggest issue, majority rules. And so where majority rules, we could be pushed out.
Absolutely.
We have to take this serious, Steve. All right? And so we're going to address that. And that is going to close the door.
Will the new government have in it the kind of teeth, the kind of tools that will make sure that the people who sit around the board dealing with immigration matters are small and confined and easy doable because we know who these people are? It should not be where, in fact, you have the entire cabinet who's supposed to be dealing with this thing and anybody can push the book and say, well, I don't know this and that. It's so confusing. Will there be a defined group of people who, in fact, will look at these matters of such as citizenship and the rest of it so that we can know that these are the people who are going to be appointed, these are the people who should be looked upon, and we would know exactly what is happening in our country if there is any future problems in this country with immigration matters.
We're going to have a strong process that we put in place. We're going to have a system that we put in place to operate this stuff. The first thing we have to do is clean house. The first thing. All right? And we have to put the right people. There are a lot of people at the Department of Immigration who are willing to get this right. We've been talking to them. They have been revealing things. There are persons who are qualified there who have just been doing as they're told because they just need to keep their job. And so we're going to make sure we have the right people in the right place. There's going to be Commission of Inquiry on Immigration. All right, we've already applied for it.
There's going to be a commission.
We have
of inquiry.
already applied for it, and they what they did was they prorogued the House so that matter goes. You have to apply again.
So you have to apply.
All right, and
This is
so
when they got rid of Keith Bell.
Yes.
You call for the
Yes.
COI, call for this thing, and then they
yes,
prorogued
we
the
called
House.
for them to remove him,
Correct.
and we called for a Commission of Inquiry, and we. So they did the little trick to make sure they didn't have it. But we're also at the same time going to have audits to make sure that we see what has been going on. And some people may be arrested. All right. Once we find that persons have committed crimes, we can deal with them.
Well, these people.
Now we're gonna be careful with persons who were forced to do things by persons over them. We're not gonna persecute them. They're gonna be safe and protected. They're gonna become witnesses and testify. They're gonna testify to say that
Crown witness.
the minister made me do this, the permanent secretary told me to do this, the director told me to do this. Once they're willing to come forward, we're gonna make sure that we deal with this problem and we're gonna treat that like treason.
That's the correct thing to do. I've got many calls coming in on the telephone lines. Let me take this first call because we are talking immigration. Strictly today, we are talking immigration, and we want to make sure that we get a good idea as to what Lincoln Bain and his COI party will bring to the table, because it is the biggest problem in the room. It is the biggest problem in the Bahamas. Everybody knows that. The Americans know it. Everybody knows it. And we must stop gesturing. We must stop playing around, because the leaders today are not interested in dealing with this thing substantively in a way that we can see results at the end of the day. Good afternoon, caller. How are you? Very good, thanks. Yes, you did. You did. Yes, you did.
Yes.
Too many people. Too many. Well, I hear what you're saying. I appreciate your call. Thank you so kindly. There are some things that he talked about in that particular discourse just now, and that was the whole idea that the patriots of the people in court, at the court level, Supreme Court, that case is supposed to come up sometime very, very soon, as we understand it. And the thing about it is that the gentleman is thinking that there should be more harmony, more harmonization to make sure that at the end of the day, everybody's on the same page with this whole idea as to where we want to take this country. I want to ask you about your views on that particular matter, and what do you see happening futuristically in this country? Because something, he mentioned the point, something has to happen with the people who want to come here and vote. Now, how is the COI going to deal with this particular influx of a very serious and sobering problem that goes into the election day, if in fact these people are doing just that, coming here to try to vote? What's going to happen from the COI's perspective, and how, what kind of assistance would you need on this particular level? Would this be a national assistance by the entire Bahamian public? Would this be assistance by the Royal Bahamas Police Force, by the people who are supposed to know what to do? What's going to happen? Because I declare, I see disaster down the road if, in fact, this thing continues to go to hand.
Yeah, so he dealt with a couple of things there, important things, and I appreciate him for that call. Firstly, I will address the last thing he talked about, them taking over abandoned houses. We've been talking about that on our lives. They are doing that. That is true. We had exposed what was happening on Paradise Island one time ago, and there's other places all out San Souci and Seabreeze and
Really?
Ironwood and South Beach. Everywhere you go, they are taking over houses, and anywhere you see an abandoned house, they are taking it over. They watch, and on Village Road, if they watch and if they see no one is there, they'll just show up and see if anyone shows up and says something. If they don't, you see them there renovating.
By the way, my neighbor just next door to me,
Hmm.
Fort Charlotte, she had some people came to her, and they came into our house, and they wanted to take over.
Wow.
These are people, and this is a house that, I don't want to call the name, but this is a very, very, very resident, very, very great residence in Chippingham. And she was frightened, so she came to us. She ran to us, and she said, "Listen, these people taking my house. They're trying to take over my house. They come in there talking all this. I don't know what they're saying. They want to take over the house." This was just but a year ago. So I know what you're talking
It's
about.
happening all over the country, and the government is allowing it. While they are harassing Bahamians, we saw a story where a police officer, a known white police officer who's known for harassing Bahamians, went into the Wellfields area, not in the part where we are, the part next to it, and harassed a young man and basically, dragged him out of there. This is the kind of treatment Bahamians have, and we're going to be curious to see if they continue to harass Bahamians on their own crown land when they have not been touching these illegal immigrants taking over our crown land. And that's something I'm willing to die for. So if the government is ready for that kind of fight, then come on, let's go. We are going to stand with the Bahamian people. You're not going to touch one Bahamian on our land while you're letting these people take over our abandoned houses, take over our land, our
This is
crown
the
land, and
urgency of
everything
the whole
else.
matter. This is the urgency of the
And
whole
they
matter.
have the help of the government in doing this. The treason is happening from governments, and this is not just the PLP government. Previous governments were also aiding and abetting in this, but right now they have the police force, the defense force, all of them working to aid and abet them. And so now we have stories out there that they want to give that Wellfields area to these Haitian immigrants again because the Haitians said it, and now you see this officer coming back and trying to harass
The well
Bahamians
fields?
in the well fields, which they say part of that area is crown land, or they say that area is crown land, and so there are Bahamians like that young man who was arrested.
So
His
they're
family,
actually making space for these other people.
yes, that's what the Haitians came and told us was going to happen, and so you now see every so often they come and try to fight us, and then we push them back. That young man's family was living there for 50 years. All right, almost 50 years, just short of 50, 2 years, 2 years short of 50 years. There's laws. If you are on a property, using a property for over 12 years, and that's private property, that's yours. If it's crown land, it's 30 years, and that's yours. That is the law. That is the law, Steve.
Understood.
We live under the rule of law.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are Bahamians on their Bahamian crown land. All these years, you couldn't touch the illegal immigrants, but you come there and harass a family that's been farming that land, living on that land, 3 generations, how 4 generations on that land, and you go harass Bahamians and all these shanty towns around here. I've never seen that white police officer Carroll in a shanty town harassing the illegal immigrants. I only see him harassing Bahamians. And one day we could buck. One day we could meet up on our land, on the battlefield, and I could fight. Not him, but I mean I'm going to fight politically for our Bahamian people. We are going to stand up, and they better bring all their tanks and all their guns and everything else. But as long as one shanty town is standing in this country, you should not touch one Bahamian in this country. Not one. when these people have been living illegally on what is ours for over 70 years, and you could send a white police officer to harass a man whose grandfather farmed that land because you want to give that to illegal immigrants? Illegal immigrants was living in that area when there was the well fields, defecating in our water, throwing garbage in our water that was going into our houses. You was brushing your teeth with that, and they didn't dare for decades touch them. Every so often when they go in there and inspect, they would see that the people throw in waste in the water. They would stool in the bags and throw it in the water in the well fields that goes to Ministry of Works. Or they would just stoop over and stool in the water.
I know it.
Throw garbage in the water.
I know
And
about
then
it.
they would just turn off the water in the country, and you'll be like, why the water off? Eventually, before they move those persons, Steve, they moved the well fields to Andres and started barging water to Andres before they touch illegal immigrants. But they could come and touch Bahamians.
This is very emotive. It makes one very, very angry.
Steve, in order to move them illegal immigrants, you hear the word they're using?
Yes.
Illegal immigrants. They made a deal with them and gave them land in Cowpen Road area to get them to move off the well fields.
What it means is that the government, successive governments, have no intention.
But they want fool with Bahamians.
They're moving. They don't have any intention of moving these people because there must be something under the. Let me put it this way: there must be something on the side that they are looking at. It got to be what everybody's believing. It's got to be the vote. It has to be. You see, the turn of events that happened in this particular country happened over a period of time. And that's why we stayed right behind these microphones and we broadcasted all the matters that happens since the time of from Duvalier right down to Michael Martelli, the last person who was here on ground and said what he said about the voting bloc. You see, when you see these things happen, these things, it's a plan. It's a part of a plan that they had to do, and they were taking it out. They had to cut a deal with successive governments of the Bahamas in order for them to facilitate this particular plan. And so we have been found wanting as a country and as a government, and that's one of the reasons why America is so upset with us, because of the fact that we have been playing along with this game. Now they've gone international with this nonsense, what they've been doing, giving people passports, giving people citizenship. They now have a situation where Donald Trump now wants to send them all back to the Bahamas. That's where they came from. That's their port of departure, of leaving the plane. So their whole idea is that this way they got to send them back. All of these things are considered to be a mix of things that has happened all over the years, to the point now where we are a place where we don't know what's going to happen futuristically.
Money making, Steve. That's all it's about.
I hear you
the politicians making money. That's about money and votes.
Somebody has got to stand up and say, look here, the money that make, no more. We can't have no more. Who is going to do that? Is that Lincoln Bean who's going to do that? Because the people, my friend, Lincoln Bean, my dear friend, Lincoln Bean, they're depending on me. The Bahamian people, I know what I'm saying. I tell you, they're depending upon you. They're depending upon you, Lincoln Bean. You, they're depending upon you. The audacity, the determination, that kind of thing. Your stickability, your follow through. They're depending upon you, Lincoln Bean, to deliver them, because they do need deliverance now. This is the time for deliverance, because we are not going to be existing as a people anymore if, in fact, these other people carry out the plans that they have. It's that simple. This isn't something we can just say, well, just don't worry about it, man. We'll see what happens. No, we can't make a decision. They're depending upon you. And that's why I'm asking you today, wholeheartedly and genuinely, what you going to do? What's going to be the plan? Answer that in a minute when they come back. Hi, Copy, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon, Steve. Good afternoon, Mr. Bean.
Peace and love.
Good afternoon.
Just to chime in on the conversation, we see three flights coming in a day. You had voices saying that the Bahamas needs immigrants to build the country. The problem is the country isn't being built. We don't see any new infrastructure. The country isn't situated where we can take on the multiple people that are coming in constantly every day. Okay? This is a tourist destination. If the hospital cannot provide effective medical health care for the citizens of this country, how can we provide the service to tourists? Now, how can we also provide the service to the mounting number of people that are coming and entering in this country daily? The islands are still stuck in a time loop. There is no infrastructure in roads, no infrastructure in buildings, no infrastructure in communities, but we have people that are coming in. Our country cannot take on this load. And if people cannot see by now that we are in a war, this is a passive aggressive war.
That's what it is.
People coming into the homes of the elderly and displacing them. And there is no one in this country to stand up for them. The government, nor the armed forces. You go to the police, you can't get assistance. You call on immigration, you can't get assistance. You call on the government, you can't get assistance. But the minute a Bahamian steals a candy out the store, it's plastered on the news and they are sent off to jail. The minute a Bahamian decides to take possession of their crown line, they are the inheritors. They are hauled off or dragged off of their property like they're some common criminals. We are under attack. We are under attack. You can see our Bahamian flag being flown upside down and backwards in the front of a police station. The country is in
Serious
distress
stuff.
and we are under siege.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate your call.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful call. Thank you so much. She's brought us up to date with so many things that's been happening here in the Bahamas.
Some powerful points
It's
made.
pathetic.
Yeah.
It's pathetic. It really is. You see, I get to look at this thing and I'm wondering how come did we let it go so low, so bad? How come we let this thing get out of hand like this? 80 plus years, and it's progressed eventually. When the first people first came here, the Haitian nationals, they were passive, cool, and good. Everybody liked them. Everyone liked them. They were from the Valles period. They came here. They occupied the place. They worked on the farm. They did some things that were very, very noteworthy. They helped to build this country. These new people now who we see, they are destructive. They're not interested in anything. I hear one rowing the other day with my neighbor next door. It's a little girl. She's rowing with my neighbor who's a lady woman, a woman who's been around. She's been 80. And I mean,
They rowing a Bahamian?
She rowing a Bahamian.
An 80-year-old woman?
An 80-year-old woman. I mean, the little child is only about 16, 17, and she rowing she telling her all the things. I mean, I was in my bedroom. I said, oh, Lord have mercy. I just said a quick prayer for the lady. The lady was under attack. See, when these things begin to happen on a usual basis, my friend, we are directly, and that woman said, we at war. Something is wrong, and our leaders have no clue as to what's supposed to happen. Hard copy, how are you?
Yes, Mckinney, I'd like to get on to your show.
You are on my show now. I'm listening to you.
Okay, the topic is still dealing with the immigration problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is that Lincoln Bain you're on?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Bain.
Good afternoon.
Keep up the good work, my brother.
Thank you.
You're my support. And the thing about it is that we have a vision for this country where we're going. And at the end of the day, the Bain people got to come to the realization that they have tried, we have been there for them. And there's no Baimanization in this country under the administration. They're really the same. And the Bain people got to realize that once you lose the Bahamas, and from what I see, I was traveling the other day, Mr. Mckinney, Mr. Bain, and the people I see presented payment passport in Miami at the counter coming back, they speak Creole, and their children speak Creole. In fact, the boy had a Haitian chick. I'm not knocking them, they are people, but they have the country.
I don't.
When their property. And payment people from the top to the bottom, particularly those in professional, those to the bottom got to realize whether you're a judge, you're a magistrate, you're a doctor, you got to realize that your profession aggression has nothing to do with your nation. Your nation is your future for your children. We see that the Haitian mandate is, to me, they're a bunch of cowards. Because they flocking here, they flocking all over in Miami, and they allow a bunch of gangsters in groups to rule their country, and they won't go back and sacrifice and fight for their country. And it's so sad. This might be hard to say on the radio. Some came to my spirit yesterday and said, Lord, I think this country would have been better if successful was with future live and had an opportunity to govern this country as the prime minister. The vision that I read that he had.
Yes.
It's so sad.
Brilliant, man.
And to see that, the people have given both government numerous years of mandate, and there's no immunization in this country. Nowhere, no what. I mean, the education system, all the millions of dollars the taxpayers have paid, that's in the shambles. Health is in the shambles. I was up there getting some medicine, and really, more than half of the staff now at the hospital, at the clinics, are Filipinos. You trying to tell me, Bahamians with good grades, C and B and maths and English, that they go off Mr. Bain and Mckinney and come back and run the pharmacy? Come on, man. Be in trouble.
Yeah.
If you afford to give out your medicine and tell you be on the medicine, Lord have mercy. It's a disgrace for the leaders in the two parties we had run this country for years.
Yeah,
Lord must move and send us in another direction. Hope the best for Mr. Bain and what you're doing. God continue to strengthen and protect you, my brother. And you, Mr. King, and your family.
Thank you, sir.
God live and long live the Bahamas and Bain people. And I want to tell this Caribbean court that Bahamians who's went off and who's done well in other countries, you need to come back and look at your country and help fight for the balance of your country. Because there's going to come a time when you're going to be put out of Canada, you're going to put out of the United States, and all those countries are in Europe, and you're going to have to come home to the Bahamas. Don't come home and when you find out that the Creole run your country. You all have a blessed day.
Thank you. Yeah, people are being sent home right now. There was a little girl who was sent home from Canada yesterday. She was sent back here, sent back to the Bahamas. She went to Canada, and they sent her back. That's the beginning of things to come, because we just got to understand what it is that we've got to be doing and get busy in doing it. You see, I've been talking from a line of questioning today because I'm really trying to get Mr. Lincoln Bain to talk with me, and he's been doing it, talk with me about what the whole challenges are. And one of the things that came across my mind, I'm going to get back to that, is the whole idea and the things of what's happening in the family of islands. They too have been totally infected. Island has been totally infected. Andros Island has been totally infected. Bimini, all of these places have been totally infected by all of these people who are here in the Bahamas. And then, of course, I got other questions here, but let me just take this call. Good afternoon, caller. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mckinney and PMLB.
Good afternoon.
I want to bring something to PMLB and everyone's attention in Radio Land. There's an agency in Jamaica, Alfonso Agency. He's advertising recruit from Jamaica. All these different things: carpenters, plumbers, electricians, nurses, doctors, IT professional, architects, engineers. Like what we have is like the Bahamas is up for sale. And any immigration minister who says how much millions they made of immigration should be ashamed of themselves, because what you're telling the citizens of the country is that you're more into making money than saying that your citizens are employed. So what we don't have an immigration problem. What we have, people who we put there to look out for this country have turned out to be nothing more than money junkies, like a dope addict. More, give me more. All they see is money. You wish for money and you could do whatever you want. So our problem is not immigration, it's we have people who are money junkies in power, and they will do anything to get money. And that's the Bahamas problem.
Does it border on this thing that Lincoln Bain has been talking about? He's been saying it's all corruption. It is not really a immigration problem. He says that will be solved by the COI within a matter of a month or so, or thereabouts. You see, you have to understand.
I agree with him. Once the word gets out, see, people know where to play their games. In 1 year, Canada deported 30,000 1,000 Haitians from Canada. No human rights person mess with Canada. So people know, and if you put someone who's in immigration right now, who's serious, all this about doing abandoned houses and all that will stop. But the problem is, like Mr. Bain said, PMLB said, we have a corruption problem. And that's our problem.
Well, he's got to tackle that whole matter of corruption. That's got to be on top of his list right away, because we've got too many problems in this country, and we're not going anywhere fast, and that's the bottom line. One of the other things I want to talk about today here, Mr. Bain, is the fact that...
But before you go into something else, I just wanted to say, because I didn't get a chance to deal with the thing on the Patriots.
Please.
All right. And so I support what the Patriots are doing 100%. I believe that the deal, major issues like this, to tackle them, you have to deal with it from many different fronts. It's like fighting a war. You don't do any one thing. You don't just have an air attack or a ground attack or a sea attack. You have to come from many different fronts. And so what the Patriots are doing is they are taking it in the courts. It's like the civil rights movement. It didn't happen from one front.
Right.
It happened in the courts. Thurgood Marshall's another way in the courts fighting for certain things. Martin Luther King was on the streets fighting from a different angle. You had Stokely Carmichael and others fighting from another angle. And so you hit it from all the different angles. So what they are doing is important because no one angle is going to be enough. Going to the courts alone, to the persons appointed by the persons making money from this, the judges are appointed by them. They're appointed by the same system. And so while you need to do it, what they're going to do is drag this out. As you see, is what is happening now. That's a strategy, that's a legal strategy. And so they're going to drag this out as long as they can until after election. We know that that's what they're going to try to do.
That's what they're trying to do.
That's
not going to happen.
Yeah, that's what they're going to try to do.
The Patriots have the confidence that that's not going to happen.
Right. And so just remember, even when you get a decision in the Supreme Court, the government will then take it to appeals court. Then they will take it to privy court. And so they're going to make sure that they try to drag this out. But you still need to have this in their face and pressure them from the different angles. Our angle is, once we get into government, you don't need a court case anymore. You need the court case because the government is corrupt and they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And so once the Patriots and the Bahamian people get a government in power that's going to look out for Bahamians and put Bahamians first, you don't need a court case, because now whatever it is that the Patriots has been suing for, it happens with the stroke of a pen, and no one can stop it. And so that is why Fred Smith and the FNM is trying to put Michael Pintard in place so that he could do their bidding. Notice how quiet Fred Smith is, who's been fighting very the immigration for Haitians, for them to come here, and no one can touch them.
Louis George
is quiet.
The same fella.
Quiet. All of them are quiet.
These are people
all right.
Exposed on this show.
And all of them work together. And so they're hoping to get Michael Pintard in. And so some people are saying, oh, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. You need change and this and that. You're going to lose your country if you let them get in.
Michael Pintard has not ever tackled this whole matter of the immigration problem.
Steve, stop right there. Steve, hold on. Michael Pintard has never fought for any of the Bahamian people. He has never fought for the Bahamian people. When have you seen him being locked up for the Bahamian people? When have you seen him out there fighting for the Bahamian people? He fights for the oligarchs. He fought for the whole of the West Coast when he became the leader of the party, and they was challenging over where there's money for the food thing. And he had big statement, big fighting for them. All right, he fights for them. He does not fight for the Bahamian people. So how do you think he's going to work for you over the oligarchs when he gets in? But we got to put a government in place with the pen. That needs to be the focus of not just the Patriots, but all Bahamians. The pen that can stop all of this right now.
This thing and say, this is what is going to happen. That's that. And we
the immigration problem's over.
That's what he's saying.
Simple.
So listen, people, you need to make up your mind what you want to do, because we done tried these fellas already. They've been totally corrupt. They've been doing all kinds of stuff. We don't have a break. We need to get ourselves a break. God wants us to get a break today. If you ain't want no break, that's your business. But the people want a break. Good afternoon, caller.
Good day. How y'all doing?
All is well, sir.
Okay, great. That's a great message that's going on thoughts already of the day. I want to tell the even people the problem what we have in this country is we're looking at the man in this suit to represent us all the time. A tie.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know where they live. We don't know what kind of car they're driving, but we know they're driving the best, they're eating the best, and expect them to actually look out for us and look at our conditions. We need to. You see when Lincoln Bear went inside that bush and he ring off that gun? That's love. That's get off this property. And they call it, oh, he's so no. He's frustrated. We are frustrated. We need people who can say, listen, come hang on the corner with us. You know, these politicians smoking weed in private, allegedly, because they don't put it out there, but we know what's going on. And then you all open up your eyes and drop your mouth like, oh my God. Let me tell you something. The only person who was perfect was Jesus Christ. Yeah, we've been judged too much. But for the wrong people to represent us who aren't us. All right, these people get their money because of our backs. And be like, oh, they ain't got no money. The COI ain't got no money like that. Where do you think these politicians get money from? Making deals and letting these white foreigners come in here and take us over, run our country, and say they have all money that that we make no sense. Our money. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I
We're
do.
not judging who trying to run us. It's the heart. All right? You need people who can sit
How
down
you doing?
under the almond tree and talk to the people who can understand the struggle and say, you know
Hello.
what? I got you today. You need your rent paid? All right, I empower. I got this. Not let it
Hello.
run on. Another person come, they let it run on, and guess
I
what?
thought
It's
you
too
would say
it builds up too much, so they can't keep their promises no more. Because there's too much people to promise. If you say you can do something for me, do it right there and then move on to the next. But don't wait till 4 years and a half almost election time, and then everybody get what they promised, or just about, oh, you know, we can't go against him, we can't go against Brady, we can't go against Penton, the F. What? Come on, man, baby. People, we need to wake up. You understand? I'm tired of that. They are not like us. The heart. Don't look at the outside of a person. Look at the heart. The best interest is the heart. That's what God judged. When Jesus went up there and he picked his disciples, none of them was in the church. The people in the church was the ones who crucified Christ.
They got a good point. You got a very good
That's
point.
why we keep going into this thing, because we pick the man in the suit all the time to run our country, but not the man who got to put on a flip flop and say, okay, you need this wood on top of the building, you need this top, all right, you know what, you need this fixed now. Not come to my office or check with this person. Too much red tapes. Too
I
much
appreciate
red
it.
tapes. Let me tell you something, COI family. Stop judging who comes in the party. Once their heart is clean and they rule under the COI, they say, okay, yeah, they for the people. Yeah, we ain't checking for that. Listen, they can drink with us, they smoke with us, they know our pain. They can grow up with us with the light. When the light go on, see if you get empty. No empty. When your light go on, when you can't pay your bills, when your
Hello.
children crying, no one. Anyway, y'all have
Hello.
a blessed day. And they're gonna be more. Trust me, we even people to stand up, speak up.
I appreciate your call. Thank you so much. Lincoln Bain. Boy, these people are on fire today, you know.
Mm-hmm.
These people understand that they finally have a man here who can, in fact, do some things and create some stuff in this country. The time is now. And I'm looking at this gentleman here to be with me today, Lincoln Bain. I think that he has the talent and the skill. That's what I was saying earlier. People see your determination. People see that they can depend upon you. All of them have seen it. PLPs and FNMs. They've seen it. And so now the bottom line is that you've got to be in a position where you got to deliver because the people need the help. It is not so much about this thing called money and all that kind of stuff. And while I know that the COI is well presented because they're doing things and they have some things that they can do, and they are doing it, I think that you've represented yourself well. But besides all that, and that's just the whole general consensus of things, I want to find out: do you and the hierarchy of the COI have a definite plan of action to remove the many illegals, the predominant ones, who continue to come unabated. Can you share that plan with us? I mean, I know you said some things earlier, but do you have a concise plan that you have in your mind at this particular time? Because the people are very, very desperate.
After you take that call, I'll do
Good
it.
afternoon, caller. How are you? Good afternoon, caller. How are you?
Yes, good afternoon. I'd like to make 2 points. The first point is at the immigration club. You don't think if you see you do a raid or you meet them on the street and they flash card saying that they have a work permit. Every Asian national will have a work permit, should have a passport. And they should also be assigned to somebody. You understand me?
I understand what you're saying. I think we're beyond that point now. I think we're talking about the mighty influx of them here, and they're outnumbering us big time. That's what I think we are. We're dealing
But
with.
they need to get rid of the 1, 2, here. Because they got too many Asians in this country that have illegal documents because the credit, the work permit that they fly, they get that illegally.
See, that's one of the things that we're talking about right now. These illegal documents, these illegal deeds, these illegal citizenship, all these things, these illegal passports. You hear the people are saying to you every day, my friend, listen, we go into airports and these people speaking Creole. They ain't no Bahamians. They don't understand what's going on. That's what we have been dealing with in this country for the last umpteen years.
But the thing about it is, Keith Bell being on the little show last night, stating that the citizenship that he granted at a funeral
He could never
was
explain that.
non-illegal.
He could never explain that.
So he said it was non-illegal. Say, and the person it was supposed to be for the man who was dying and after.
Listen, that can never be explained. What he did was a corrupt thing. He gave this man a passport, Rancine, and the fella was able to get his other people to be son, daughter, and everybody else to be nationalized and with a certificate saying that they are citizens of the Bahamas. That's what he did, and there's no explanation for that. That is pure and well written corruption off the top.
Because as far as I know, Haiti don't allow Haitians to denounce citizenship. And they're not from a French country, they're from a French country, they're not from a British country, so how could they be allowed to have Bahamian citizenship?
Many questions.
Qualified for permanent residency.
Yeah, well, we know what to do, but you see, we are so corrupt, as Lincoln Meehan said earlier. That's a deal what we have on the table. But I appreciate your call. Thank you so much for your call. Thank you. Yeah. A lot of these things that people are coming up with, it's already been rehashed. You see, you've got to understand that we didn't come through all of those things. Now, I don't mean to cut them off. My whole thing is that we already come through all those things. I don't want us to go back and drag those things in again. What I'm asking you now, Mr. Lincoln, is the fact that here it is. We wonder if there's a definite plan of action. And that's what I say. Very simple words. Definite plan of action to remove many illegal migrants throughout our country. And I'm talking with the people on Andros. I'm talking with the people in Bryland. I mean, if you've been down to those places, my Lord, these people are vexed. I'm talking with everywhere else except Long Island. You could name your place right now. They're all over Maguana, all over Auckland, all over Crooked Island, this and that. They all over the place. And I know that they don't have no papers. But here it is, they're here. What are we going to do? What's the action plan to immediately jumpstart this thing and say, listen, we declare today, as of today's date, once the COI is the government of the Bahamas, we, the Bahamian people, will have clear sailing. There will be no more nonsense. No more. We are not going to tolerate it anymore. See, I think if people hear that kind of thing emanating from the leadership of the People's Party, the COI, this may could be, in fact, something that can really bring the kind of correctness to this problem that we have. What do you think?
Steve, this is not just something that saying, excuse me, this is something that we have been doing. You know what a man is going to do based on what he has been doing. And the Bahamian people are seeing us fighting for the sovereignty of the Bahamians in this country. They are seeing that. And so you know exactly what is going to happen when we get in there. We are going to make these wrongs right. We are going to set this straight. We're not interested in money from any illegal immigrant. That is a crime. Illegal immigration is a crime.
It is.
You are a criminal. Okay? That is what you are. And so we're not interested in taking money from criminals. Okay? We're going to, our policies are going to right the wrongs of illegal immigration and legal immigration. Because there's some wrongs happening because of legal immigration also.
Okay.
That is putting Bahamians at a disadvantage. I'll talk about that afterwards. But that is very important that we not neglect what is happening with the Chinese and all of these other investors that are coming here, while Bahamians are being used on these plantations that we're about to be kicked off.
What would you say?
No, before you go on, let me
Sorry.
answer, because I know we could go a lot of places. When we get in, we're going to make sure that, well, to start, all of the laws we need are already in place, except the ending of naturalization. All right? There are already laws. Illegal immigration is against the law. Harboring illegal immigrants is against the law. Hiring illegal immigrants is against the law. We have every
You enforce the
law
laws.
that we have in place. See, it doesn't matter what law you have if
there's
your
no
gatekeeper is corrupt.
No question about it.
If you have someone watching your gate and you told them, don't let nobody in here, that's the rule. Nobody comes in this gate. Or if your rule is only my children can come through this gate, that's your rule. Only the Mckinney children can come in this gate. When you leave, you have your rule in place and you have a gatekeeper that you put there. But if he lets everybody in, your rule don't matter. And that's what's been happening. The rules don't matter. The rules only go for Bahamians in this country. The law is for the poor. And the law is for Bahamians. They will break a Bahamian back. They'll lock you up for selling coconuts. But you go on Cowpen Road, they selling everything on the side of the road. Till people started complaining, then they went and give them, the immigrants, went and give them permit in their children's name or something. All right? To be able to be there. But for years, they was there. No permit to be there, nothing. But they would mash down a Bahamian for any little thing in this country. But anyone could come in here and do whatever they want. That makes me angry. Like Jesus going in the church and seeing what they were doing in there and turning that place over, it makes me angry to see Bahamians abused in this country. I get the calls, I get the calls every day from all walks of life. Everyone wants me to fight for them. I'm only one man. I only have 24 hours in a day. Everyone wants me to answer them at all times. I can't. All we need to do, nurses, all we need to do, reserve police officers, all we need to do, defense force officers, all we need to do, Bahamas Air workers, all of you who are being abused, hotel workers, Bahama workers, just remove the PLP and F&M. Can't you see that they are the problem? Can't you see that every time they get in, they are the ones abusing you? They are doing this. They are abusing you. Your light bill is high because of them. Foreigners come here and abuse you because of them.
My Lord.
Everything that is going wrong in this country is because of them. And you're going to still vote for them?
And they're defiant too.
After someone abuses you and you vote for them, you are telling them you want more of that.
Yes.
You want more.
Unfortunately.
You are telling them that is exactly what you wanted. Because if you remove the F&M last election, and now they're coming back and say, put us back. I watched Marvin Dames on the show the other day trying to explain the domes. Lying. Disgraceful. That was a disgraceful, dishonest, deceitful interview. Where does he think he is going? Promising $10 million for fire trucks? $10 million for 25 fire trucks? Well, where are the drones? You all spent $17 million on a couple of drones. But you only can spend $10 million on fire trucks? Come on, man. We got to fix it. So when we get in, we are going to fix this problem. The laws are in place, Steve. The laws are in place. We are going to enforce the laws. We are going to do what we have to do. No, there will not be one illegal immigrant in this country.
Not one.
Not one. There are no illegal immigrants in Qatar and Dubai and all those countries, you know. There are a lot of immigrants. People come to the country and helping them build the country. Their population is just over 300,000, just like us, almost 400,000. But that's the citizens. But the total population is 3 million. That means there's a lot of immigrants there, but not one illegal immigration problem. People come the right way. Why we want you to come the right way, Steve? So you could have a bank account. So you could have a driver's license.
That's
You don't
right.
hit our car and break off running
Exactly.
and don't have no insurance. So we know how much license plates we need. We know how much hospital beds we need. We want you to come the right way so our country could be worked properly,
the
man.
good thing is that you got the plan. If you're
Yes,
going
we
to
do.
become the immigration minister, by God's willing, that this is going to happen in a big way for this country, and the country going to be redeemed and set free again, Lincoln Bain will be that person that's going to sit on the desk of that immigration department, and we will have
We've released-
supposedly smooth sailing
Yes.
from here on in.
We've released the plan and it's
Out
on our
with the
website.
old and in with the new.
Yes.
And I mean that in every sense of the word. Good afternoon, caller. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Very good. How are you?
One question. If these guys know over here have passport and what's card, how they are going to stop it from voting?
Okay, that's a fair question.
How?
Let me let Lincoln Bain answer that for you. And of course, I have some other things to say on that as well. But go ahead, Mr. Bain. Go ahead. Thank you, sir.
That's a simple one. We cannot reveal everything that we plan on doing,
Wow.
but come and help us man the polls. That's all you got to do. So if you're Bahamian and you're a patriotic Bahamian and you want to see what is right, come help us man the polls and we will deal with it. All right?
There should also be the litmus test. The test to see if you can speak English. That should be something.
We have
we can
a
put
plan.
Put that on the poll.
We have a
Can
plan.
you speak English? Come here.
You see,
John Joe. Can
when
you
you-
speak English? Read this. Read
Steve.
this little proclamation. Read this.
Steve, when you start revealing things like what you just did, now the government is going to say, you know what, they may try and make these people speak English. We got to tell the person, the presiding officer, don't allow the people to speak.
Yeah.
All right, they can start putting stuff in place to block what they think that you're going to
Yeah,
do.
well, they know
And so
they got
that's
ideas
why
on this show, but
that's why I'm
I
saying.
understand what you're
No,
saying.
I'm not saying you shouldn't say that,
Mhm.
but that's why I'm saying we have our plans. You know, we
You
always
can't-
have a plan.
You can't reveal all things.
All we need you to do as a patriotic Bahamian
Mhm.
is come help us man the polls, and everything is gonna be all right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Do
We
you have
already
the-
have our plans in place, and we know what to do.
Do you have confidence that it's going to be okay, that at the end of the day, say it's poll time and we go into the general elections, do you have that any anticipation that funky things will happen, or the plans that you now have pre the general elections will be adequate enough to suffice and deal with any matters of concern?
The only thing we need is for Bahamians to come out and help us man the polls. If you help us man the
Is
polls,
this a national call?
this is a national call. Come and help us man the polls, and you don't have to worry about any of that. We will be able to deal with it. Now, I'm not going to say exactly what we're going to do because then they're going to prepare for it.
Mhm.
Come help us man the polls and make sure only Bahamian votes count. All right? And so that's important. That is critical. Your country is under invasion and they're going to invade you at the polls. I just want to stress this again one more time. People have heard me say this a couple of times, but I want to stress this. The country called Fiji is where we get our water from, Steve.
Yes. Mhm.
That beautiful water that we
Mhm.
spend a bunch of money on. It's just regular water. I'm just water better than Fiji water. But okay, we spend the money on it. They have that's their natural resource, and they have beaches, beautiful beaches, and beautiful land, just like us. And they started bringing in foreigners to do the labor. And so the Indians came in to be their workers. They cleaned the yards. They did the jobs no one wanted to do. They did the cleaning. They were Yanani, and they were just like our Haitians are in this country. But the Indians came in and started doing the work for the Fijians. And eventually they grew in population. And of course, they started to have children because they were there. And they grew in population. And then it got to the point where the politicians would always pander to the Indians for votes because their population started to increase. And every election, they would pander to the Indians and swing the Indians. And the Indians would say, okay, we voting for this party now. All right, I just call them PLP and FNM. That wasn't the name of their parties. We voting for PLP this time. All Indian vote for PLP this time. All right. And the next time, oh, we going with FNM. PLP making no sense no more. And they would swing back and forth and they would sway the election. And people noticed it and they pondered them. People just left it alone. Boy, there were plenty of them now, but there ain't no one checking for them. Then eventually they got to 50-50 in terms of population numbers. No one was paying attention. They see them all over the place, but no one was really paying attention. And they got to 50-50. And of course, the politicians pandered to them again, and they, humored the politicians. And then in the last minute, guess what happened? An Indian came forward to run. Like how Luby saying, you want to be prime minister? An Indian came forward and said he is running. And he ran. And everyone laughed at that. Where does this man go? That's just like a Haitian coming forward to run. Where does Haitian think he can? Well, the Indian came forward to run, and guess what? He won. 1987. He won. All of the Fijians went into panic, like, holy crap, what just happened? Because they were still caught up on their PLP, FNM. I don't care. And they didn't see the foreign element coming in, slowly creeping up and taking them over. And in 87, they realized, holy crap, we just lost our country. The Indians just take over. The man who just cleaned the toilet just take over. They run things. Guess what the Indians started doing immediately? Selling off the beaches, selling off the natural resources, selling off everything to Indians. They started selling out the country. Guess what had to happen? The Fijians then had a coup. And they took it all back the country. The Fijians came together finally. After all them years of ISPLP, ISFNM, the Fijians came together.
They found a common cause.
And said, no, they taking our country. And they had a coup and took the country back over. Guess what happened? The Indians took it back over because they had the right, the legal right, majority rules. And they took the country back over legally. Okay? The Fijians had to have another coup. Like, we don't care what the court say. We don't care what the UN say. We picking up our guns and y'all ain't taking our country. No. Y'all, no, they said, y'all, we are Fijians too. We born here. We never been to India. It's our country.
My Lord.
It's Fiji. A perfect example. And they had to have two coups.
I hope you're hearing this.
They had 2 coups in 1987, and they've had 4 coups since because the Indians keep taking over. And the only thing that keeps them at bay now is threat of violence. But they have infiltrated all of the government ministries and everywhere that has power in the country. Yeah. And so now the only thing that keeps things at bay is the threat that, listen, we could burn this whole country down before we let y'all take this over. But it shouldn't have had to come to that. Precisely. Because they let the politicians keep them divided over party and not caring about country. Oh, I just F&M. I don't care. That's my party. That's my soul. That's my bones. My Lord. While your country is being destroyed.
Are we hearing from Lincoln Bean today that this could possibly be us because our conditions are similar to that of Fiji? Could it be that he's speaking down the road if, in fact, we don't get our act together and know what we're supposed to be doing? And could it be that we are destined to do all the wrong things because we just love we party so much that we can't see the city for the smoke? What is it?
I want to say something because someone made a comment just now on my live. They said, Lincoln, remember that Luby is Haitian born. I want you to remember something that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be born in the Bahamas to become prime minister of this country.
Very true.
Or governor general. Or deputy prime minister. Or have any position in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You can be born in another country, get citizenship.
But that's only for Haiti. I mean, what you're saying with the Haitian nationals, They know that they can't do that in Haiti if they're not a part of Haiti. But here it is in all countries, like you said, they can possibly become those things that you're just mentioning.
You can't become president of America if you are not born in America, a
Yes.
born American.
Mhm.
You can't. You can't become president of Haiti. You can't even run in their elections if
Exactly.
you are not a natural
Exactly.
born
Natural born.
Haitian living in
But in the
Haiti.
Bahamas,
Living in Haiti,
you can
hold
be
on,
anything you want to
and own land in Haiti.
do. My Lord.
How are we wrong? How are we xenophobic for saying that we want organic Bahamians to run this country, man? When other countries' laws say that, how are we xenophobic? Because I want Steve McKinney's daughter to grow up and become prime minister of this country. I don't want someone else from somewhere else having that opportunity.
My Lord.
I want Bahamians to rise up in this country. Bahamians are rising up and they are doing well in all over the world, except in the Bahamas. All over the world, Bahamians are shining all over the world. But in the Bahamas, nothing for us. You can't shine here. You gotta go.
But that's going to change, right?
That
Tell
is
me that's
going
going
to
to change.
that is going to change as soon as we become the government. We are bringing back all of our talented Bahamian students from all over this world, all of our talented Bahamians who are working in different areas, building up the rest of the world. We're bringing them home to build this up, the new Bahamas.
Hard copy, how are you?
Mr. Ben,
Yes.
good day. I forgot to ask the biggest question, the biggest elephant in the room question. You ready for it?
Yes.
What is going to happen to those people who are working at that Haitian embassy that was involved with illegal activities for years? I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you. What's going to happen? He wants to know that.
That's the easiest question all day. If you were involved in any kind of fraud, when we have our investigations, you're going to be dealt with. It's simple as that. We're going to treat that like treason.
My Lord. Hard copy, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Speak. You're on the air. I'm listening.
Okay. I left the show tonight. I want to congratulate the COI, Mr. Armless, and Mr. Bean on tabling a bill on Wednesday.
Yes.
I want Armless, since he represents COI, to please allow the government to allow flags up when Parliament going on. It's a disgrace.
Okay. That's it?
That's all I can say.
Thank you. All right. We had this same situation before, and I had to say to a gentleman, that matter that's happening in the interior of downtown Nassau and the rest of it, that's a matter that's now in court, that's a matter that's in court. The gentleman who designed the flag and all that kind of stuff, he took them to court. He's trying to get his monies for the flag. They've been using his flag left, right, and center. They've not done anything. And so the government is complicit in this whole matter because they have not been able to successfully agree with this gentleman and make sure that we have a flag that we can be very proud of and flying the flag all the time and that kind of stuff. It is rather embarrassing that this is the case, but this particular gentleman, Mr. Darling is his name, he had to do what he had to do. He has to do what he's done so far, and I think that matter may be cleared up in a short time from now. Maybe not before independence, but maybe it would be cleared up right around that time of independence because it is a matter of critical concern to this individual and to his family and to all those people who knew that this is what happened in our country.
They are waiting him out. They are waiting for him to die. He's a very elderly man, and so they're going to stall this court case until he dies. But I can assure him at this time that when the COI gets in, he's a Bahamian. He's going to be paid for the flag. We are going to pay him, and you can screen record this and keep this. We don't care who don't like it. They went and paid Shane Gibson because he was locked up. They went and paid, settled with all kind of people. We are going to settle with that gentleman, and make sure that we can have a flag that we are proud of, not one that you stole from Bahamians. What is happening with him is symbolic of what has been happening in this country. Bahamians, they treat us like we don't deserve to have anything.
Absolutely.
They take our land. They take everything from us. Opportunities. They take it. It's like you don't deserve even the flag. They
Even the flag.
can't
Even the flag.
credit us for.
My Lord.
Even that. And so we're going to make sure that he is paid. If he passes away before, I can assure him that his family is going to be straight, because we need to fly a flag that does not have blood on it.
Very true. Very true. Very true. There's a lot of thought into this creation of this flag. Hot copy, how are you?
Stephen Mckinney, I have a question. What is going to happen to those persons who would have gotten a voter's card before the next general election? Would they be allowed to vote?
Go ahead.
Ma'am, I can't speak for the government. What they're going to allow or what they're not going to allow. All I can say is that all Bahamians come out and vote, and you vote for the party that is going to put Bahamians first. And you come out and help us man the polls to make sure that anyone who got theirs fraudulently does not disenfranchise us by stealing votes from us. I'm calling on Bahamians, stop calling me and asking me what we could do with certain things, because we can't reveal everything that we're going to do. But I think by our actions, you know exactly what we are going to do. You know what we have the courage to do, and you know that no one is going to buy us or sell us. No one is going to bribe us to stand down. We are going to do what is right for Bahamians. And so we are going to deal with all of these matters. No other party is going to deal with it. And so on these matters, we cannot tip our hand. But I can assure you that we are going to fight on whatever level we have to fight on.
There'll be serious consequences and repercussions.
And we are willing to
Eddie
do
Murphy said
by any means necessary to make sure that this country does not go to the dogs.
No question about it. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. So that's it's a very, very fair question. And,
It is.
That is a thing that a lot of people are thinking about. See, I say to us as a people, we must not get involved in that aspects from a governmental point of view on what they can do. The question should be, what will Brave Davis them do if these people are not stricken from this particular thing? And what will Michael Pintard them do if they
Brave them could do don't matter. What we could do is what matters.
What
are you
exactly
gonna come out and vote? Are you gonna come help man the polls?
Yes.
Are you gonna talk to all of your friends and family and talk sense in their head and let them realize that this is not just about the little stuff Pintard them talking about or what Brave them talking about? You about to lose your whole identity. You about to lose your whole country.
No, wouldn't matter with all the stuff that they were doing today, dealing with this place in Grand Bahama. None of that will matter, because you see what's going to happen is that we won't be running the country anymore.
Steve, I won't touch on that before we go on.
Yes.
Because that's a new plantation. All right?
I know
we have built a plantation. The Bahamas has become a plantation, and we're about to be replaced.
Let's speak to it.
A country is two things. A nation is two things. It is made up of land and people. So if you sell out all your land, you don't have a nation.
Absolutely.
All right? You got a people, but what do they have? They're going to be adrift, like many of the nomad people you see around the Middle East and other countries.
Exactly.
All right? They don't have a nation, but they are people. We don't want to be like that. When Ingram changed the land law, the Immovable Properties Act, it made it so that we could lose our land. In Haiti, a foreigner can't buy land. You can't. I tried. You can't buy land. All right? If you're a foreigner. Even if you're not a Haitian who isn't ordinarily resident there, you can't buy land. All right? And so we have to protect what is ours. And so we have been allowing the Chinese to come and take our country over. We've been allowing them to buy up everything. And we put them in a position to do it because we keep Bahamians poor So when I say we, the government has been keeping Bahamians poor so that they could keep ruling over. So that when they come with their little gifts, we say, "Oh, the government, he's so nice. Oh, see, he's helped people out. That little $50, that little fridge, the little school fee, the little 1 or 2 month rent they gave you. You feel that they gave you so much because they kept you poor, and that's what they do. You see? And so that's how the Chinese now, because of our political strategy, they know that. So they come in and they know you poor. Look where they go first. They go where the poor people are. They go in the ghettos. Look how much Chinese grocery store,
Absolutely.
restaurant, everything in the ghetto. They target that because they know that's where the weak people are. How much Chinese food store and stuff you see out Cable Beach? All right, how much? All right.
Many.
So
There's any.
they don't target them. And so your land is being taken away by the Chinese, and now these foreign investors. We have to talk about what happened today. So I'm gonna get to that after you take the call.
Good afternoon, caller. How are you?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Mckinney. Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Yes.
So, Mr. Mckinney, I'd like to make a statement and a comment, and I hope my fellow Bahamians take this comment very serious. Mr. McKinney, I think for this country to be in the state that it's in right now, we really and truly and honestly need to debate these concerns and issues that is giving our country a stink. And the last time I've heard a debate was from a child, man. I mean, like, these things need to be debated. Why isn't that we have a national debate with these leaders? I sure Mr. Bean is ready for a debate right now with anybody.
Yes.
I was just listening to the other show the other day with F&M Senator, and they have no substance. And I'm saying people need to debate these things. House of Parliament basically was supposed to be that area for us to make a spectacle of things that don't make sense in the House of Parliament, but they make a mockery of that. We need a national debate. And I hope Bahamians understand that these are the issues that need to be debated publicly. So
You think they want to debate? Do you think they want to debate Lincoln Bain on, let's say, Brave Davis or Michael Pinta? Do you think they really want to debate Lincoln Bain on immigration?
Well, we know that's a definite hard no right off the top. But we need these kind of things because over the years, as a young man growing up, all I've known is manifesto, no vision, and it's sad.
And the people can't read.
And thank you, Mr. McKinney.
Yeah.
Majority of the Bahamians know everyone hide the secret, put it in the book. But now Bahamians, we are woke. We opening up the book, flipping it backwards, reading.
Not only that, you're watching things online. Thank goodness Lincoln Bain them got things online all the time. You 24/7. You can watch anything online all the time. They will tell you what they're going to be doing. It's just there. It's available. You don't have to go find your glasses and look through this book. You can find it right on the line because they're saying it. This is what we are doing. And that's why I want more Bahamians to read what they're doing. Okay, but I appreciate your call.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, definitely, we're calling for a debate for all of them. In a democracy, you should debate and accept questions about what you plan on doing. All right, and we're calling for a debate. They could give them the questions ahead of time. Don't give me the questions. Give them the answers ahead of time. Don't give me the answers. Help them. You could bring the whole cabinet to help Brave. Pintard, you could bring whoever he needs to bring his merry men, and bring all of them, and we'll debate them. All right, and like I said, give them the questions ahead of time.
Okay.
All right, because our vision is in me. Our vision 2030, every single word of it is in me, because it's easy. People say, "How do you memorize this whole vision?" How you can talk about any part of the vision, because it is only one element to that vision: the empowerment of the Bahamian people. Everything about that is moving us from being slaves and servants to being owners. And so today, what they are celebrating is really an abomination.
Yes.
It
Grand
should
Bahama.
not continue. And I'm going to talk about that when we finish the calls.
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, PNLD had to call back.
Yes.
Did that story about Jamaica and the Chinese. Yes, what has happened? The Chinese went down in the slums of Jamaica. They bought businesses, they befriended them, and whatever have you. And now the Jamaicans are complaining how they can't find walking space in Jamaica for
Yes.
the Chinese. And the same thing is happening here. Do you know on one street they have a Chinese liquor store at one end and a Chinese liquor store on the next? All you can see popping up are Chinese liquor stores, and it's not right. Who is giving these people all these licenses? How much liquor could you sell in one constituency?
Yeah.
So it's more to than what meets the eye. And when you get into power, I want you to find out why these liquor stores are being opened up in residential area and in the school area.
All right.
That's
Thank
my
you.
input.
Thank you. Let me do this quick thing. I've got to run to a break, take this call, and then when we come back, we'll pick it up with Lincoln Bain in a minute. We're going to talk about this whole thing down in Grand Mountain.
When Steve talks, everybody listen. The government does move quick. Every day he got this.
We're running out of time this morning.
Hard coffee. I'm up with Steve Mckinney. Steve means business. You know that for sure. I'm Mondays through Fridays. Steve McKinney, you the score. Hard coffee. Hard coffee. Hard coffee. Hard coffee with Steve McKinney. Hard coffee with Steve McKinney. Critical role. Chief Analyst. We do any and everything.
So we are going to a commercial break. As you can see here, we're going to commercial break, and so you won't be able to hear us until we come back. All right. So see you in a few minutes.
What I like about hard copy is after listening to Steve, you have a 411 on what's going on here in the Bahamas. I love what he is doing. He's informing the Bahamians of what's going on. Very informative. I love listening to his show every 5 o'clock. When it's 5 o'clock, it's peace.
Steve is a wonderful guy, and this station is Cano. I love the station. You guys are doing pretty good, and keep it up.
Welcome back. It is 4 minutes past 7 o'clock in the afternoon right here on Hard Copy Live. Lincoln Bain is on with me today. We're talking immigration matters, the woes of immigration, what's going to happen in immigration. We know that Davis administration, nor the Michael Pintock administration, the opposition party, doesn't care too much to speak about the overwhelming immigration issues facing the Bahamas. And the question is today on the table, what is Lincoln Bain and the coalition prepared to do about this vexing problem in the Bahamas? He's already answered that question in the first part of our show today. And of course, you are joining me now on the final half of the show. And yes, we're going to talk now about the whole matter that's been happening over in Grand Bahama, the place where everybody seemed to have been very excited. But there were many, many questions being asked on Facebook all day long about what's really going to now happen since the PLP has said that they've got some new investors in town and they want to purchase the Aulukaya Hotel. And somehow people are not lukewarm on it. They were there, but they are lukewarm on it. The truth of the matter is that they've been joshed around so many times and so many years, 8+ years with this Aulukaya Hotel, and now they're not so ready that will this actually happen? That's what they asked. Will this actually happen? What's going to be the deal? Because what they did today was sign a heads of agreement. The heads of agreement is with a group called Concord over in America, Concord American company that will be running the show, and they brought all the big players in town to say, look, this is what we're going to do, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. It all sounds good. I might as well tell you, it sounds good. But you see, the litmus test is this. Will it happen? Will it happen? Will the people be satisfied? Will it happen? That's the question. Lincoln Bain, do you think it's going to happen?
It doesn't matter whether it happens or not. Steve, hotels open and fail and close. The worst business in the Bahamas is the hotel business.
Tell me about it.
The Cable Beach Hotel was the Atlantis of its day. It was supposed to be the savior of the nation. They closed down the Hobby Hall racetrack because of it. They were making a casino there, and they felt like the Southerners wouldn't want to gamble next to black people. So they changed the law to make it illegal for Bahamians to gamble, well, unlawful. That wasn't a savior. That opened and closed down to the point where the government had to buy it. The Crystal Palace was supposed to be the next savior. They had all kind of Indians coming and working and helping build it, and that opened and failed. Many different companies have owned both of them because they invest in it, open, and it fails. You see how much times all manner of hotels. Look at the British Colonial. How much owners has that had? How much names have been on that?
So many.
It's just a billing of a hotel. Building a hotel does not benefit us as a nation. It benefits the people who own it. It don't benefit us. Every time a plantation was built in the 17 and 1800s, it benefited America. It was a plantation. And it benefited America because the Americans owned the plantations. It wasn't other people coming in and building plantations in their country. They built the plantation. But the plantation didn't benefit the slaves. In the Bahamas, we are the slaves. But guess what? In the 1870s, 1800s, the slaves used to call it our plantation.
That's right. You were proud of that.
When master was sick, you know the slave would say, Master, we sick?
Master sick.
No, he say, we sick?
We sick,
Master,
yeah.
we sick?
No question about it.
Our plantation? That ain't yours. But they put that in your head. And they listen to the speech of the government officials today. talking like that's ours. Like that's our thing. That ain't ours. It was ours. Sorry, it is ours, and they're about to sell it probably. One, they're selling another heads of agreement, the third or fourth or fifth heads of agreement, whatever it is. All right?
The fourth one.
Yeah. And so you're celebrating the fourth heads of agreement. And this isn't a sale, but they had a big shebang. And I was asked to come with the song say never go where the heathens go. You're celebrating selling off our land again. Now, I welcome foreign investment because even under the COI, we're going to allow foreign investors to come here, but you could partner with Bahamians. It would have been better, and this is a speech that we gave in the House of Assembly on Wednesday. It would have been better. It's still good, but it would have been better if we said, okay, we own the land, we own the hotel, you partner with us. You come in, the Sovereign Wealth Fund go own part, and you go own part. So the people of the Bahamas go own part, and you go own part. Like what happened when Saul Kirshner went to Dubai. When he came here, we gave him everything. All our crown land, the concessions, everything. We gave him everything. When he went to Dubai, they said, no, you go own half, and the people of Dubai go own half. You see the difference in mentality?
Yes.
If you go to Singapore to open a business, they can say, no, you go own half, and the people of Singapore go own half. And so we should have been in that position. We have to change our thinking. Stop celebrating someone coming and taking what's yours.
Well, they were full of glee today. My Lord, they were full of glee. I mean, everybody was just so fascinated.
Steve, this will not be the first time we had a hotel there. How much hotels there in ruins right now? The building of a hotel is nothing to celebrate. And it is nothing to celebrate, especially if it's not owned by the Bahamian people.
But you got to understand something, though, Lincoln. I hear what you're saying, and I do agree with you. When you're looking at the condition of the people of Grand Bahama, being in such a bad position, in a chaotic position, because they ain't got no job, they ain't got no money, things are bad in Grand Bahama. As you well know, things are very bad. They would celebrate any little thing. If a cockroach crawled across the floor and he left an egg, and they said that egg could eat, they'll celebrate.
And that's why they keep us poor.
That's why we're so desperate.
That's why they keep us struggling.
Denisio Diaglo was there in the early beginning when they first tried to sell the hotel 8 years ago, and he was the Minister of Tourism, just like Chester is the Minister of Tourism today. And when Denisio was there, Denisio came on to my show, onto the last word show, and he says, "We are desperate." That's what the headline is. He said, "We are desperate. We need the money. We are desperate." And he was desperately trying to sell the hotel out of Lucaya 8 years ago. I'm showing you something.
What money? $60 million?
$60 million. And they got, and Hutchinson Whampoa got $85 million. See, something is wrong with us as a people, but at the same time, I could understand and appreciate the people of Grand Bahama, the regular people who just want to see something happen. Thank God something happening to them. That's what they're saying. So we understand that. But they mustn't be caught up in this foolishness to the point where they don't see the big picture. See, you're one who see the big picture. You see the plantation. You see what is going to happen eventually. But at the end of the day, the people, let them have their little joy. Let them have their peace and joy because they had a good thing today. First time the people been down in Grand Bahama. First time Bray was able to show his face really down in Grand Bahama and say he's doing something. See, you have to understand that. The people are full of glee. So I give them to that. And I hope that everything works out for them and that they're able to do good for the hotel and do good for the Bahamian people.
I want us to own this country like the Americans own America.
Yes, I understand.
Like the British own Britain.
I understand that. And I'm all
like
for
the
that.
Emirates own Dubai.
I'm all for that.
I want us to move to another level.
Yeah.
That's simply
We
it.
have to do that.
Okay, $800 million is what these people are going to come in and invest, right?
Yes.
Ryan Pinder, the Attorney General, said that they were targeting in the first year, this before every deal was closed,
Right.
$900 million a year for the carbon credits.
Yes.
1 year. All right. Now, I know it's way more than that. He just was calling a number.
Right.
But let's say it is that $900 million. That means we could have invested long time. Why are you not invested in the Bahamas?
What you see. See, I see that too. You see it too. See, that's a real question you ask, But did that go over the people's head? It hasn't, you know. It is just that they're into that. These people can bring this on $1 billion. Let's go with that. And it's all a lot of fanfare and a lot of public relations and all that sweet stuff. And you can't
Steve,
keep these
let me
political parties from
let
doing
me
this
let
sweet
me
stuff with this
let me put
public
this in
relations stuff.
perspective for you. I have a job to do. God has sent me to be the voice of the people.
Exactly.
And I have
appreciate
to
that.
stand up and I have to educate them when we're going wrong. All right. I'm not celebrating a hotel being built because there was a hotel there before and the economy was failing. The hotel was present
Yes.
there and it didn't help.
Understood.
Just building a hotel will not transform Grand Bahama.
Mhm.
Is something that
That I
an
agree.
element that is needed.
Wholeheartedly, I agree.
Just building a hotel. There have been many hotels there. That
Yes.
won't transform
Mhm.
Grand Bahama. But we have to change our mindset and we have to change our thinking.
Right.
It's time for us to own this economy. We must be the persons to invest in our resorts. We must be the persons. And I don't just mean a couple little individuals, these token people that the politicians make rich because they're partnering with them behind the scenes. I'm talking about a sovereign wealth fund that benefits all of us. You form a company, and that company invests in resorts, in cruise ships, etc., etc. It can be done. Real money will be made. Why should we celebrate these people coming here to make billions of dollars when that could have gone to us? Carnival makes $20 billion. They're celebrating. Oh, and Carnival coming. They're gonna open up in a couple of days. Carnival makes
All
20
foreign investments coming
$20
into,
billion.
but that's for them. That ain't for us.
All right. What Carnival invested in Grand Bahama, every loan they get is sometimes more than that. They'll go to the House of Assembly and say, okay, we borrowing $500 million or we borrowing $1 billion. Like, okay, what y'all doing with that? Y'all couldn't buy several cruise ships. Let me give you an example. There was a lawsuit recently with Crystal Cruises. The government was trying to get the VAT for that. The cruise ships, 2 cruise ships were seized in the Bahamas until it was sold. When it was sold for $128 million. The government wanted the VAT on that, all right, which would have been, I think at the time, that would have been 12% at the time when it was sold. All right, so that's some good money. My thing is, $128 million, 2 whole cruise ships.
Two of them.
Why didn't, because we seize them, why didn't we take that off, pay the bill that they didn't pay, own it, all right,
And turn them around.
or pay the $128 million it was sold for,
Mhm.
and now use that to move our tourists around to build the economy of this country. You see the difference?
Bad decisions. That's what happened.
They only do what they can make money from under the table. The foreign investor come and say, listen, man, yeah, man, I can make sure you straight. You good. Now give me this over here. They ain't worrying about doing nothing to benefit us because they believe that we will not be able to be dependent on them anymore. We have to change our thinking and our mindset, or we're going to lose everything that God has given to us. I would not have sold the Grand Lucaya and the Lucaya. That would have been the first jewel in our portfolio as we did what as we do what Dubai did. Build
But they're not
great
looking,
facilities.
They're not looking at places like Dubai and those places like that.
They're looking at it. They know.
I mean, they're not learning anything from it. Let me say it that way. They're not learning anything from what the Dubaians have been doing. Because if they were, you would see examples of that happening right here with our own little local companies called Batelco, called Alive, and all of them. You would see it. There's no clue as to what these guys are doing, and we have no clue as to what technology strives for these days. And so the daggone phones go off all the time, every day. The electricity goes off all the time. The water and sewage people goes off. See, I'm showing you something. We don't think along those lines like the other people are thinking along those lines because they are building what? They have a mindset to build their country. We've been saying all the time on the show. We want to build the country, but we're not building the country. What we are building is our pockets.
Let me show you something, Steve. And to the Bahamian people, please listen to me before it's too late. Hugh Alexander Minnis, during his term, borrowed about $5 billion with a B. All right? About that. $5 billion. Not one school built, not one house built. No really roads paved. Now, they paved some sidewalks. I don't know what they did that for. but nothing substantial. $5 billion they borrowed. Do you know how much cruise ships and resorts that could have been? See,
You're thinking progressively,
they
man. These
borrow
guys
to
are
pay
unlike
down
the other
debt.
ones.
That's why we don't see what they're doing. They're borrowing to pay debt.
Right.
All right. So that's how they keep alive. They're living off of debt. And so, why don't you borrow and invest in something we can make money from? And so, the principal from that could be used for other things. Now, the country can be making money. And so, you buy two cruise ships that were on the market. You're now making billions of dollars that you can now invest and you can pay off your debt.
I can see that clear as day.
This is so simple. But we want to celebrate being slaves. Yes, the straw market people are going to have some customers coming over, but you're going to still be living off of $100 a day,
Pennies.
$500 a day pittance. We can make all Bahamians wealthy. It can happen. It will happen if they vote for it. We can have change. Other countries are doing everything we say. They say we selling dreams. There's nothing that we have put forward that another country is not doing right now. Everything is doable.
We don't know it. The first thing about best practices, we just keep getting it wrong. And that's unfortunate. That shows us the contrast of new leadership versus old leadership. And that's one of the problems that we in the Bahamas are facing right now. There's old leadership that wants to keep things the way they are and always the way they used to be. The new leadership are thinking progressively and advantageously. They're thinking this way we gotta go, this is what we gotta do. These are the things that we want to see happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what is actually happening. We are caught betwixt and between right now because we've got a group of people who are staying with the old thing. That's how we just do it. And so I don't know. I ain't know, man. I scared to do this thing, and they're haggling over themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make up your mind. The country is progressing anyhow, with or without you. Do you understand? So you got to make sure that you are with the system that is going to be in the progression of where you want to go,
Mm-hmm.
not regressing back to the old and staying there. You got to get moving.
Mm-hmm.
Even me know that. And here it is. These guys just want to. Well, I getting old. I get my little bed. See, I grow my little white bed. That's what they're saying. I got that little pot belly now. A straight man. The life been good. But what about the children? What about my grandchildren? What about those other people's children? What's going to happen for them? You
Yeah.
need leadership. You need a change of attitudes and a change of mind in this
Yeah.
country. Good afternoon, caller.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Mckinney.
Peace and love. How you do?
I'm great. Something that Mr. B said just now came to my attention, right? About the hotel. The vendors, saying the vendors doesn't make a couple dollars here and there. But I noticed that, I realized that we have the same thing happening at Nassau right now. But the cruise port, they build those places at the cruise port saying that the vendors are.
And they ain't even taking on $500.
That's the thing. These things are already in place, and the vendors aren't making money. And it's frequent taxi drivers ain't making money because of the buses, those big double-decker buses. What?
I thought they would lower them. They still got them.
Yep.
Yeah, so what makes people think that it's going to be a different thing when they open that hotel in Freeport? They're going to do the same thing, block you from making money. They're going to put their own stuff in place to make money. The vendors, they'll be going to the same thing, taxi drivers, same thing. There's nothing going to change. All right, that's all I want to say.
Well, that means that you need change. I hear what you're saying. You need change.
Jobs, and slavery. That's what they're promoting. Slavery. We have all that we need to do what we need to do. We have the natural resources to fund whatever we need to do. We can use them as collateral to do even more. That's what Dubai did. When they found their oil, they only had a small amount of oil, so they used it as collateral and got loans to start building all these wonderful things that you brag about. These wonderful buildings that everyone wants to come to see.
So we missed the same crown jewel that you were just talking about just now.
Yeah.
With Al Qaeda. That could have been the first crown of the jewel.
Yes. Yes.
It's
And so
assets.
it's not too late. And again, I don't want people to think that we won't allow foreigners to come and build their investments. Of course, we'll allow them to. They're welcome to come here and build as much as they want to. But we're going to ask them to partner with us. All right, come and build. And guess what? This company has to go and get partners, investors. They have to find money to do
That's
this.
right,
They don't
that's right.
they don't just have the money. They have to go and find investors. If they could come to the country and the country says, "Hey, you're going to partner, so half of that money you don't have to worry about because we could put up some of that money." Now, you have to take in consideration this our land. So because it's our land, that's automatic shares right there. This is our building, even though you're breaking it down, that's our building. That's automatic shares in this right now. Our beach, that's our beach. So you're going to partner with us because we own this. And so you will own a part and we will own a part. And
That's straight up.
we is not government.
Mm.
We is a company formed and owned by the Sovereign Wealth Fund of this country, which is owned by the people of this country. That is the difference in thinking.
Already I feel better. Already I feel better that if that's how we're thinking along the lines, then we could be in safe hands. That's what we need, That's what I've been trying to say all these years. I've been trying to say we've got to build the country. We've got to do it. Us, we have got to do it. Now I don't know how all the expertise is going to take, but I know that we've got the smart people on board to build this country.
Steve, if it's one thing Bahamians are expert in, we are the world's experts in hospitality. We have more experience than anyone else. Dubai they're getting tens of millions of tourists a year now from the desert. In 20 years, we had 70 years, and we just bragging about 10 million tourists in the mouth of America. Look how far people got to go to Dubai. They will go there because Dubai built something that people want to see and experience. And they built it. And they partnered with foreigners with some things, but they built it. We could have done the same thing.
So Dubai is a good model.
And so we have to
Singapore.
transform our thinking. Let's stop celebrating becoming slaves. Let's stop celebrating jobs. That should be an abominable word. That should be a curse word. Let the foreigners come and work for us, man. Hey, who go work? Let the foreigners come work. They doing all the work now.
Anyway, we're getting ready to wrap up. Good afternoon, caller. How are you?
Hey, Steve Mckinney, good evening, Lincoln.
Good evening, my brother.
I'm enjoying this conversation, Lincoln. The couple statements you made just now prompted me to call in here because you're absolutely correct. What you are advocating has been information that we've been putting out into the public domain for quite some time over the years, especially those of us who have worked in the hospitality industry most of our lives. We have perfected what it is to be the world. We are still the world leader in hospitality.
Yes.
We just employ our people who have taken this not as a job, but as a career. We actually can teach people around the world hospitality. But our leaders in this country, especially those, and I'm going to be very succinct here, what irks my spirit is these Bahamian managers, owners, vice presidents, and so on and so forth. They have earned their stripes by the backs of Bahamians, such as myself, who have lent myself to the industry and helped to make the industry one of the best in the world of civilization. But when they have attained their positions, they became quite selective in who they want to advance and who they want to hold back. You're quite correct when you say in our own country, we should have the foreigners working for us, not we for the foreigners.
Yes.
And we have the expertise here. We have the knowledge here. And yet, because our people in leadership does not value us to that level where we can succeed in building a successful country that the world will envy, they chose to subjugate us down to the bottom as if we are nothing but pawns and pawns to move around a board. Until we
leader. You can tell me this is the best that our country can be. You're going to tell me that the sovereign wealth fund that the former prime minister, I attribute credit to Christie, who introduced it, but his deputy prime minister at the time, Brave Davis, who is now the prime minister of this country, found under his tutelage at that particular time. You mean to tell me that this same gentleman took the sovereign wealth fund away from the Bahamian people, repackaged and rebranded as a national investment fund? And many Bahamians do not even understand what this national investment fund is all about. There's no information about how it benefits the Bahamian people as a whole at the end of the day. And yet, we are trading carbon credits and everything under the National Investment Fund, monetized it and everything, and yet the Bahamian people still don't know what is it that that comes to them at the end of the day, even in terms of benefits and investments annually, so they can survive in this country. And it's ludicrous. And we will continue, Lincoln, in closing, and Steve, in closing, until we stop the indoctrination that our people have been placed under from 1973. And even before that, talking about majority rule. And I call the majority rule nothing but a farce in this country, because the only time Bahamians rule as a majority is during election time. There's no other time. The Bahamian people, on average, in this country, we are barely surviving in our country. And then we're being annexed by another country that seems that they're getting all our benefits. They're profiting from what we have paid in taxes, and yet the Bahamian people cannot catch a break. My God.
Wow.
When are we going to get out of the stupor of being slaves and become owners of our country? Thanks for taking my course.
Well said,
Wow.
Jeffrey. Well said. Well said. Well said. My goodness, what a time.
Wow.
7:30 this. We got to run the show. Got to end the show.
Yes.
Lincoln Ben, it's been a pleasure to have you here to speak on this matter of immigration and to say things that you believe in, that you're convicted on, that you believe can happen. And I'm hoping that the Bahamian people give you a chance to do what you have to do, because I believe your assignment is from the Lord on high. I believe that your assignment is something that we need to have happen. See, Dorian didn't just come. Dorian came and took them all. That was a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody paid attention to it
Mm-hmm.
because they figured that, well, we ain't getting hurt. But so many people got hurt. The Haitian nationals got hurt. We got hurt as a country. That was a lesson. It's a lesson that we're supposed to be looking at, analyzing, dissecting, and giving ourselves to our Lord and Savior. I'm happy to see that you all are doing a fantastic job. And I say this with all my strength, with all my confidence, that you all are doing you and the COI are doing a fantastic job of trying to help us and save this place from disaster. I compliment you on that. I think it's the right thing to do. It is what I would have done. It is what everybody would do, because this is the right thing to happen. And God has been good to you all to make sure that you're assembling the right people in this day and time. This has to be a godsend. There's no question in my mind, See, I hear what all of them say. I've been doing this for 45 years. I've been doing this. I know what I'm talking about. And you got to just believe that. I believe that you all are the people who are supposed to pave the way for the new Bahamas. I'm going to leave that right there. Please don't not let the Bahamian people down. And please, Bahamian people, do not let yourselves down. We need this change. It's evident. You can see it. You can see it. God bless. Take good care. Lincoln, I would have asked you for a final comment, but
thank you.
Thank you so much. That's our show for today, right here on Peace FM, the home of hard copy. And so we end the show. Tomorrow on the show, we will feature the one and only Rodney. from down the road, who people say is my rival. Let me just tell you, Rodney started on the show. That's where he got the inclination to do talk radio with me, Steve McKinney, on hard copy. I've got the shows to prove it. They're all here. All of his shows, what he did with me, are here on hard copy before he had the guts to talk through a microphone. I've got the clippings. I've got the shows. And I'm going to play one tomorrow, just for your
Awesome.
edification.
Awesome.
I'm going to play that show tomorrow. And when I do that, you will get to see that my love and respect for Rodney has been unwavering. It's been real. We don't talk about this every day, but because of his death and all that thing that actually happened, you have a right to know that Rodney Brennan was a one of a kind. And so we're going to talk and address that matter tomorrow, right here live on the show. Perhaps you don't even remember this. This show happened in November of 2014, in the month of February the 3rd, 2014.
Yeah.
He was on with me. The very first time he walked into the studio and touched the microphone. From then on in, he was the man on the other station dealing with this stuff. You need to know the beginning. We've got the beginning, because the beginning happens all the time on hard copy. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow, God's willing.